They are an important part of the overall healthcare team in whatever setting they work in. March is National Athletic Training Month. The goal is to spread awareness about the important work that athletic trainers do. Athletic trainers are licensed healthcare professionals who specialize in the prevention, assessment, treatment, and rehabilitation of injuries and illness. Athletic trainers have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in athletic training and must pass a comprehensive national exam to earn their credential. Athletic trainers practice under the direction of a physician. As a part of the healthcare team, athletic trainers coordinate and communicate regularly with a wide range of other healthcare professionals. Athletic trainers are required to participate in continuing education annually to keep their skills and knowledge up to date. Athletic trainers are most often seen in the traditional sports medicine setting, working alongside sports teams at the high school, college, and professional levels. However, athletic trainers can work in a wide variety of settings, including hospitals and clinics, public safety offices, the military, and even in the performing arts. Athletic trainers are often confused with personal or fitness trainers. There are important differences between the two professions. Athletic trainers are medical professionals that provide emergency care and planning, as well as injury assessment and treatment. They possess at least a bachelor's degree and they work in a variety of healthcare settings. Personal trainers assess fitness needs and develop exercise programs to help clients achieve their strength, conditioning, and other fitness goals. They work in health clubs, gyms, and wellness centers, and they may or may not have a degree in health sciences.
Reduce your risk of injury with proper safety measures, including an athletic trainer. Athletic trainers help improve student-athlete health, resulting in lower injury rates, improved diagnosis and return-to-play decisions for injury, such as concussion, and fewer recurrent injuries. Relying on coaches or administrators who typically do not have proper education to provide medical services jeopardizes athletes' health and puts the school at risk of a lawsuit. Reducing risk in the workplace is every employer's responsibility, and a workplace safety plan with an athletic trainer can help prevent on-the-job injuries and decrease associated costs. Advocate for a safer approach to work, life, and
Sometimes I make mistakes. I'm a human being, right? All right, let's do it again. My name's Tim Oldham, okay? I'm an athletic trainer. Health and wellness education we deal with, mental health, first aid, injury prevention, ergonomics, job coaching, work-related injury management, non-working related injuries management, and of course, healthy lifestyle. One thing is, we just had the conference on the healthy lifestyle. We deal with that every day. I have the privilege of dealing with that day in and day out. Every morning before I start my job on the construction site, we do what we call a stretch and flex, where we get these guys ready to go out there so they don't have injuries on the job. Right now we're working on the UTSA job, the new building downtown. It's going to be a 7-story building, and my job out there is to be the healthcare provider out there. I am the first responder. I am the person that does all the rehab, and I am the person keeps them on the jobs and keeps their numbers down from injuries. If you will see, we are no more just in sports. If you've heard of athletic training, it is not personal training, just like we saw in the video. It is every aspect of the health aspect of what we go through. We work with industrial. I worked at Lackland. We work with the military. We work still in athletics. We work in pro-professional sports. And we also work in high schools, middle schools, and college level. The reason is we work with everybody who's going to be active in their field. A physical therapist, oh yeah, I think the world of them. They do their job, but they don't do our job. What we do is we work with the ones that need to get back to work. We work with the ones that need to get back in their athletics and everyday life. So it's a little bit different. If you see right there in the middle, we work with all aspects. We work with weekend warriors. Right now I work with some of the soccer players here that work on the co-ed soccer teams through the leagues in San Antonio. Another thing is we work with FedEx. If FedEx gets injured out there, we're the ones who rehab them and put them back on the field. So we make sure they can do their job and do it well. We also work with professional athletes and college athletes and high school, and now we are also in the middle schools. We also work with the arts, like dance, and people who are having, let's say they got plantar fasciitis, or they got shin splints, or they what we call bone stress injuries. We deal with all these things, or any other conditions that may go on. And the third thing, we do work with the military. We also work with the police force and the fire department. Here in San Antonio, the athletic trainers are the ones who keep them on their job. So we have a big responsibility. What we have 5 domains we work with. First domain, injury, illness prevention, and wellness promotions. What does that mean? Injury prevention, we make sure that these guys are ready to go out there and do their job. We give them the exercise, we give them the stretches. We make sure if they have any wellness issues, let's say their diet is off and they need some education on diet. We deal with all these aspects. From head to toe, we deal with that individual. The next thing we do on top of that is, if you look up here, we do assessment and diagnosis. We don't do is go out there and do an assessment on these guys, but we actually diagnose. We do special tests from the orthopedic aspect so that we can, because we work under the orthopedic, so we want to explain to him that, hey, this is what's going on with your person, here's what we see, and we go from there. If they don't have to have surgery, if they don't have to have something major done, we give them the exercise. We fit up the program, and we keep them on the job, or we keep them in their sport. The next thing we do, immediate emergency care. We are the first responders, especially when we're out in a rural area. There's not enough time for them to be laying there and suffering for 45 minutes waiting for the ambulance because it's hard to get there or because the traffic's backed up. So what does the athletic trainer do? He does all the first response. If that athlete is down or if that worker's down and let's say they're not breathing, we make sure we do the CPR. We make sure we do the defibrillator if we have to to keep that heart going. Other things we do emergency action plans. We set up the action plan. So if we're in an industrial area and let's say they have to get in that area, we set the people up to direct the ambulance in. We set the people up to go get the equipment. We set the people call 911. We want to make sure everything goes smooth and that individual goes home that night. That's our main goal. Next thing we do, therapeutic intervention. What does that mean? That means we do the therapy ourselves. We don't send them out to physical therapy. They have to be pretty bad off for us to send them to physical therapy because most injuries we deal with ourselves. We set up our own program. I dealt with rotator cuff injuries. I've dealt with ACL injuries, which is the knee. I've dealt with meniscus injuries. I've dealt with lower stress injuries. I've dealt with all kinds of foot injuries. People who have bunions. I've dealt with people who have what we call plantar fasciitis. All these things. And most of the time I can get them back pretty quick. And another major thing we deal with is lower backs. We have a lot of people who have lower back issues. And we get them back in there. We give them the exercises. We use the modalities to get them back into their field. Just don't want to take too much time, y'all. Okay, prevention. Here's what they say about us here, right here. Excuse me. Let me go to the next slide. I'm not good at working this thing. Prevention. Prevention physical examination, we do a physical examination in the high schools, in the middle schools. That's called PPE. What we do is we go out there and we check to make sure that athlete is safe to go back out. One of the biggest things now for an athlete or a person working is the cardiac. You can go out there and you can have cardio problems and you can be dead before you know it if you're not checked and make sure before you play your sport and you get that exertion up from the activity, you can have these problems. So what we do is we make these guys are ready to go and we want to make sure they're safe. We check for asthma. We check to make sure that they have what they need to. We also, if it's something beyond us, we can refer them out. We give them to the doctor they need to go to. So we have a big responsibility out there. We can do a lot of things for a lot of people now. Go on. Clinical evaluation, here's what we do. Understanding injuries, illnesses, and pathologies. We can refer out just like I told you. Here's some of the areas we cover. Orthopedic injuries, concussions, heat strokes, and heat illnesses, sudden cardiac arrest, and other cardiac issues, eating disorders, infectious disorders, diabetes. We even deal with sickle cell. A lot of times we have people we have to deal with sickle cell on. Early onset of osteoarthritis, substance abuse, disease transmissions, weight management. A lot of people have weight problems, but a lot of times that can be controlled. We hear of all these different diets. You don't need that. What you need to do is you need to know how to put your foods together. You need to know what the calorie count is, and you need to get your exercise. Very simple, and we can help you with that. Environmental and weather, we take care of that. Like if you're at a game or you're at an activity or you're working and that lightning's close, we make sure you're off the field or out of the environment. We also deal with dental and oral. If somebody busts a tooth out there or somebody breaks off a tooth or somebody loses a tooth, if we can find that tooth, we take care of that, and in 30 minutes we try to get them to the dentist to get it taken care of. So we have that responsibility because we want to make sure that person leaves the same way they came that day. Let's go to the next one. And right here, a lot of people think, what? My friends think I do this. I'm just working with athletics. My parents think I work in the medical field. My coaches think all I do is tape ankles. Other people think what? What the state society thinks we just keep people hydrated. I think I'm carrying the world, which I do sometimes. And on the last one, that's what we do right there. We make sure when that person goes down that they're able to get back up and do what they have to do. I had two buddies of mine the other day. One of them had to get CPR to get a guy because of his heart. The other one had to do the same thing on a job. So it happens every day. I don't want to go too much more. My time's out. One thing I want you to know right here, we've already talked about that. We've talked some about that. Right here, I want you to see this. We do a new administration, of course. We have to do reports on everything we do. Okay, here's where we work. Hospitals, clinics, high schools. You can look at it. I'm not going to go into it. We work pretty much everywhere now when it comes to medical. And then the last thing is 70% of us have masters. You have to have a master to even sit in this field anymore. 47 states plus Washington have a license. We have to have a license in Texas to work on top of our certification. One state is registered in California. We don't know what's going on in California. They're a total different breed. But anyway, BOC certification needs to be taken. That test is really intense, but let me tell you something. I have the best job in the world. I enjoy getting up every morning, going to work, because why? Because I know I can help that person to come home that night just like they left that morning. Thank you.